Hi everybody, it's the Creative Bush Homestead, back from a bit of a break, a long break actually. I'm Terry and welcome. I'm older woman now. I've turned 70 in June, so I'm very much at the top of the hill and sliding down. You haven't come here to watch that and find out all about my journey down the other side of the aged hill. But anyway, I was doing a video and then the camera went off and I thought, what's happened here? And I realised the camera went off because it was just a photograph and the screen had been sick and tired of looking at my face. Well, who can blame it? Okay, let's get on with why I've come back and what I'm doing. So I thought, now that I'm getting older, I really need to start showing what I do and talking to you guys, and you know, it's a bit of company for me. I know you can't see me, but I often walk around talking to myself, so if you want to join the conversation with me, feel quite welcome to. So a while ago I started doing an Amigurumi, which I haven't finished yet. She's out of a magazine. Well, no, it's not a magazine. It's actually a Amigurumi book that I bought from Spotlight quite a while ago. And I started her. And in a previous video, you may have seen the book and you may have seen other Amigurumis that I've done from this particular book. So I'm showing you my unfinished things at the moment, okay? And then we'll get on to what I've finished. And maybe this will inspire me to finish them so that I can show you in the next video. So basically, look at this. She's actually a dog and she's called Princess something. And it took me so long to get her head right that I just became very, very disengaged with the whole thing. So I put her away. And I had done her 2 legs, that's a start. And then I had done 1 arm. And I'm pulling these out of a container that actually is for putting your lunches in. And just to let you know, this actual yarn that I'm using is amazing to crochet with. I'll show you later something that I have finished that I used, and it's called Feels Like Butter. It's by Lion Brand. I'm pretty sure they still have it at Spotlight, which is our, I guess, equivalent if you're watching overseas to Hobby Lobby. So yeah, that's it. And I will put, she's back in her box. This actually was bought to put my small cricket maker in, my Cricket Maker Joy. Well, it's called a Cricket Joy, not a Cricket Maker Joy. And I would take that around with me too when we travelled. But we haven't been doing much travelling lately. Glenn went overseas to Germany to see our son Evan, but I'm not able to fly anymore, so it's sort of restricted me a bit, but hopefully Evan and the children will come over next year. Okay, so I'll drop that on the ground. So if you hear it plop, that's what I've done. Okay, so I have a niece that's having her second daughter. I think it's in November. And I thought I would have another go at crocheting a bear for her. But these bears are specifically for babies. There's no safety eyes in, which I don't think are very safe for children under 3. And this is as far as I've got with it. Not happy. It was very hard yarn to crochet with. I don't know where I got the yarn from. I don't know who makes it, but nevertheless, it is scratchy. It is not soft. I thought, okay, I'll finish it and I'll just use it as a display. Okay, something I can look at and say, oh, gee, I actually finished that. And I've done its little ears, 2 little ears, and I've done its little arms. Now, I'll show you what it would look like if it was finished. because I have done them in the past. I find them really great gifts for small children, and, you know, obviously the bigger the crochet hook and the thicker the yarn, the bigger the bear's going to be. So he's actually called Bertie Bear, and I used this pattern out of the same book that I did the Princess Dog in. So as you can see, I've used Feels Like Butter for this. Beautiful and soft, absolutely beautiful. And then you put a tummy on it, which is lovely, and a muzzle, and then everything else is embroidered. So it's you know, it's so lovely and soft. It'd make a lovely first bear for a small child just to grab onto. And also, if you wanted to give it as a birth gift, you know, you could actually put a plainer tummy on it, and you could embroider the birth name, the birth date, the birth weight, the birth length, as sort of a keepsake. That would be really, really lovely. So this doesn't take very long to put on. So you could pre-do the bear and save the tummy to embroider when you find out what the child is. I thought that would be a great idea. And at the moment, I am actually using a thicker yarn. It's not Feels Like Butter, but it's very soft. It's like, sort of like a chenille, but it's not. I can't remember what it's called. And this is exactly what I will be doing. I'll finish the bear off, and then I'll cut out the panel, ready to embroider all those details of the newborn on its front. So it can also be, you know, played with by the child, but it can also be used as a keepsake as well, up to the parent. Okay, what else have I been doing? This may be a little long video. I've actually have a Instagram page, I don't know, Facebook page, and I'm also on TikTok now as the Creative Bush Homestead. So I have been doing a few little videos of different ideas that I have for organising your sewing room. So it's tips and tricks for organising your sewing room at the moment, but I do a lot of crafts, and I think I chose the wrong profession. I love organising. In fact, I'm always finding things to organise with. Just recently, Glenn painted the whole house. It had never been painted before. Basically, he wasn't a plasterer, so he rendered the walls, and it was like a yellowy, sandy colour. It was adequate, and, you know, it served its purpose for 26 years, and then he went to Bunnings, as he does, spends a lot of time in Bunnings, Glenn. In the future, I may show you some clips of what he does and what he's been up to. He's very creative too. He never stops. And he found these mist tints in very, very large tubs and thought, oh, I'll bring them home and use them to paint the house. Anyway, when he first brought them home, because they have been sitting in his wardrobe, walk-in wardrobe, for a couple of years, because I did not like the colours. I thought, oh, they're the most horriblest colours I've ever seen. Anyway, he got, you know, oh, I want to use this paint. Maybe I can mix it. Maybe I can re-tint it. He's pretty good with tinting anything because he was panel and paint. So he's got a good eye for tinting colours and things like that. So I thought, yeah, that's fine. I said, well, before you do it, I think we better check that the actual render on the wall doesn't suck the paint in and you're not going to have to do a lot of layers in it. So I did a test area, and of course it sucked the paint straight in. And I said, look, I'm really sorry, Glenn, but you're going to have to paint the walls with something first. And of course he didn't want to use a undercoat or anything like that because they're very expensive. So he went to his other favourite shop, which is Aldi's, and he bought ceiling paint, and he actually mixed the ceiling paint. He did end up buying a tin of undercoat, but he mixed the ceiling paint with the undercoat, and then he did the walls. And truly, I will show you in another video, the colours turned out amazing. They just look amazing. I really wish we'd done it 26 years ago. And then he decided that, you know, I want to paint the rest of the walls. And he goes, well, what colour do you want the other rooms? And I said, well, actually, because these other rooms are a bit smaller than these large rooms that he did, I said, I'd like them white. So subsequently, another hold up with not doing YouTube for a while was the fact that he was painting my yarn room, which used to be the study. He was painting my paper crafting room, which used to be the activity room for the children. And he was painting my sewing room. So he painted all of those in white, and you can see the white walls behind me, which I love because I've put up some of the things I've created and they really shine on the white walls. So anyway, that's that little story. Back to what we were talking about, what I have been doing and what I'm doing in the process of doing. So basically, then I decided I had some wool left over and I was sorting out my room stuff, well, the yarn room stuff. I was sorting out, you know, where am I going to put these yarns? I've got so many yarns, blah, blah, blah. And I came across some yarn that I had knitted a vest for Annalise, my youngest. She's quite crafty too. Anyway, so, but when it comes to knitting and that, she's not into it. But anyway, so I got out my circular knitting machine and I remembered, isn't that terrible? Remembered, I thought I was doing so well up to now, remembered that I had a pattern and had knitted for myself these scarves called infinity scarves. Anyway, so I thought, oh, I wonder if there's enough of this particular yarn, which of course I don't keep the labels off, so I can't tell you what it is, but it was just so pretty. And I knitted a few, and this is the infinity scarf. So basically it just doubles around your neck. You can either wear it loose or you can wear it doubled around your neck. I won't put it over the top of this because my hair's up in one of those clampy things at the back and it's all wild at the moment because the longer my hair gets, the curlier it gets. Who knows why? But anyway, so had an interruption, had a phone call from my daughter Tiffany, who is also very creative. She was just returning a phone call that I tried to make with her yesterday. And I'm back again. So I will edit off to a certain point. I've just had a look at the video and I know where I need to stop and edit. Big thing for me to edit, I tell you. So basically we were talking about infinity scarves. So now I'm going to show you what I have bought to do more infinity scarves with. Now, when I was having a talk with Tiffany, she actually has a Shopify because she makes acrylic resin earrings. Yeah, resin earrings. Beautiful designs, amazing. Seats Taken is what she's called. I'll put her in the link below. She's on Instagram and Facebook, and she does a once a month where she sells everything she's designed and made. Okay. That's that. So, yeah, anyway, so I actually asked her if I could have a shop in her shop for when I want to sell things. Now, she has sold things for me before, but under Seats Taken, which is great, but I didn't want to sort of give her more hassle. She's got enough to do. She's got a, you know, 10-month-old and 2 older boys, and, yeah, she doesn't need my hassle. And she said to me, Mum, why don't you put them on Depop? And I went, oh, I thought that was only for second-hand clothes. And she goes, well, I actually saw a lady who'd crocheted a teddy bear and was selling it on Depop. And I went, oh, what a great idea. I've got Depop. So if I, in future videos, say that I'm selling something, I will tell you where to go to look for what I'm selling on Depop. I'll check it all out. Anyway, back to the infinity scarf. So I found this beautiful, oh, it's so soft. I could sleep on it. Probably need sleep. The dog's getting me up at 4:45. And once I'm awake, that's it. I'm awake. Anyway, So it's beautiful. It's a variegation. It's called a latte cake from Karen and Yarn Inspirations. Now, I use Yarn Inspiration patterns a lot. If you Google Yarn Inspirations and go to their webpage, whatever it is, and I get emails from them too, they have the most amazing free patterns. Plus, you can buy patterns with kits with what you need. Just amazing. So I use a lot of their free patterns. Well, I download them and print them off. Haven't actually got to using many yet, but I hope I will one day. So that's what I'm going to be doing, more of infinity scarves. The craft group I belong to in Gin has little markets every now and then and has stalls that they put in markets that are happening in Gin. So they're brilliant. They only charge 10% for what they sell for you, so which is better than a lot of other places, I can tell you. And the other thing I hate, just a little hate here, well, hate's a very strong word, but I do intensely dislike it, is when certain venues that, you know, maybe have, you know, a souvenir area or a selling area, they buy the stuff off you at what you think is a reasonable price so that they don't have to mark it up too much. And then they mark it up so much, you think, oh, I wouldn't pay that for that. Classic example, have a friend that makes notepads, beautiful notepads, comes with the pen, everything. And when she sells them, I think she sells them for about $12 normally. And this particular place now has bought a lot of the different things off her and is selling those notepads for $21. That's my gripe, over and out on that. Okay, I don't think I've shown you a finished item. We are up to, well, sort of finished. Well, pages are finished. So I've done scrapbooking, card making, and I was using a lot of albums for storing my papers in that I don't just use for scrapbooking and card making. I use for a lot of things. And I thought, I've still got photos of home of the kids. Maybe I should put them in an album. And they're pretty plain black and white, not they weren't black and white, they were black albums. And I thought, I've got so much beautiful material that I may never use. That's me patting what I've just done with this album. Honestly, I don't blame you if you tune out, you know, in not long. Anyway, so I basically covered a album in this beautiful, I don't know what sort of material it is, a rayon or something, but it's just, and I may, you know, get my Cricut maker out and do some heat onto it with the cutting out of family album or something. But anyway, I have done a couple of scrapbooking pages. Now, I don't know how well you'll be able to see these, but the first one is myself, and I might stand up so that I can hold it better, and I hope everything isn't back to front, but this is me and my eldest, and we're still on my eldest at the moment. So the next page I did was her again, and I think I've done one more page. So I've done 3 pages. That's really good for me. So I can just pick this up when I want to. So there's another page of her. So, oh, having a frown. I think it was the sun. Anyway, so that, well, is a nearly completed item. So I might just sit down now. Hopefully that won't be flying all over the place. Then, for a long time, oops, I've just found some, oh, I know, some stuffing. Must have been stuck to the bottom of the album because it's in a trolley with other things. Okay, so the next thing I found that I had done in this time that you haven't seen me is, isn't that so cute? And it's from a homespun, August to September 2023. Wow. So you might be able to get the magazine if you want to do this. So yes, I did make one. But I don't think it's something that you could give to a baby to play with because, you know, you can't really wash it. It's made with this beautiful wool felt. And then I used my maker to cut out the flowers and glue them on and a little frock on her. And I was really, really pleased with it. But you know what? You could probably use something like this and use her tummy to do the same thing as what I was thinking of doing with the crocheted bear as their keepsake. Isn't she so cute? But I didn't stop there. I made her a brother, but I haven't dressed her brother yet. So he's been nudie-roody all over my sewing room. And I keep moving them around to try and remind me to make him some clothes. He is sewing on the machine. The one thing I do know now is that if you're going to sew felt on the machine, draw the patterns, sew your patterns, leaving a gap in between the sheet of felt, you know, like so you'll draw your pattern onto a sheet of felt. Don't cut the pattern out. Leave enough room between each drawing and sew it on the machine, doubled, while it's still drawn. Because I found that when you try to sew felt, when you've already cut the pattern out, it tends to want to go down the middle of your, or you'd have to leave a really, really large seam allowance so that it doesn't get caught up in your sewing machine where the needle goes up and down. So, but I have seen people do it, and it was, it's called Cleggs Creations, and I've forgotten her name, and she does it that way. I will actually leave a link below to her because I think it's called Cleggs Creations, but my brain is, I shouldn't really be doing a video. I shouldn't be doing anything like this, but I'm hoping that it will stimulate my mind better too because I have some problems with memory. So also the next thing I made was, I was upside down, made this pouch, right? Now I will put up a few of my shorts on the video every now and then when I take breath, and you can see the short, or I can put them at the end and you can go through, just fast forward and watch them if you want to. But it actually was a table runner, and I made it. In fact, I would say it was my first effort at paper piecing, and it had a stain on it, and I just couldn't, you know, there's so much work in paper piecing, I just could not throw it away as a rag or whatever. So I decided to turn it into a pouch, and I made a little pocket and I sewed that in there by hand because I didn't want, you know, the machine to be coming out onto my quilting. So that was the next thing I made. Then after that, I finished off another paper piecing. So this is quite large. You're not going to be able to see it all unless I put up the little short that I did about it. And I turned it into tablecloth for my outdoor table. So I might take a photo of that to put up here when it's on the outdoor table, and I will cover it in plastic. So they're what I finished. I think I have finished other things too, but I can't remember where I put them, but I can save that for another video. Okay, we're getting to the end now. Lucky you. So basically, I was in Spotlight and I had been given a gift card, and I'd used it for some things. I think I can't remember what I used it for, but I still had a bit of money left, and I was just roaming around Spotlight, and I thought, oh, I've got to use up this money. And I don't mind buying kits because a kit is a great way to see if you really like doing the pattern without going out and buying everything you need for a pattern and then finding out you don't like it anyway. So I actually found these kits. Sorry for reaching over. See all my wrinkles now. This is the first one I found. Isn't it the most gorgeous thing? Now, if I really like doing it, I will keep the pattern and I will do more, because if I find something I like doing, like the teddies, I'll just do more of them. And then maybe I can sell them on Depop. But this is my favourite one. I'm sorry. This is my favourite one. I know a lot of people don't like seagulls, but he is just so cute. Look, he's got a little hat and a little scarf. Is that a scarf? I know. Well, it looks like a scarf, but it's part of his crocheted in the neck. So I got them from Spotlight. Now, I'm a great advocate of kits, because there are so many people out there that want to try crafts, and they go out and they buy patterns and they get everything they need to do whatever it is they want to do. And then they find out, oh, I don't like this. I don't like doing it. And they've spent all that money to do it. Whereas if you buy a kit, and Kmart's a great place to go and start things like, you know, they've got kits for crocheting, they've got kits for art, they've got kits for resin. They've got so many kits in Kmart now. And I think it's great. I think kits are a great way to find whether that creative, you know, juices that you've got, can't really think of anything better to say than that, are what you want to do. Like you think, oh, I'd love to do amigurumi. And then you go and buy an expensive book with amigurumi in it. You go and buy all the yarn you need for that amigurumi, and you start it and you think, oh no, I don't like this. And you have, like I said, all that wasted product. Whereas if you buy a kit, whatever it is that you think you may want to try, and you complete it and you really enjoy doing it, then it hasn't been a waste of money. And then you can progress to, you know, having a room full of yarn like I have, or a room full of craft supplies, or a room full of sewing things. But remember, I am 70 now, and I have been doing craft since I was 8. I probably have been carrying a lot of craft around since I first had children and started knitting and sewing and different things like that. So I still have a lot of things from that era that I still use. But, you know, I think it's great that somewhere like, you know, Kmart and Spotlight have these kits that, you know, adult, child, whatever, the age groups are there for what they could do. It's a great way to start and find out if this is something that you want to do as a hobby and enjoy it. Because the best thing about doing crafts is the actual, oh, I'm going all tingly thinking about it, but it's so calming. You sit there, and if I'm feeling a bit stressful, I'll pick up my knitting, or I'll do a scrapbooking page. You know, it's really calming. Craft is one of the most great ways to just calm your mind and chill out. That's what I find anyway. And I know it's hard for the younger ones these days because their time is so not theirs. You watch these mums and these dads, and, you know, they're working their jobs, they're coming home and doing what the necessities are for running a household and bringing up children. Plus, they're finding all these things for children to do, their after-school activities. So there's never much time for their self-care, their self-love. And I think if they just do a little craft that only takes a little bit of time, and maybe they too will then find the happiness in crafting that I do and that others I follow do. Okay, so that's my time for today. Hopefully editing this will be not too bad. I will try and put a picture of the book that I did the teddy bear out of, and the unfinished princess dog. And also I'll take a picture of the Homespun magazine, because you can get back issues of Homespun magazine if that interests you. And what else have I done? Yeah, I think that'll do. And I might even put a few links through, like to Tiffany, my daughter who does the acrylic earrings, and a couple of my favourite YouTubers that are, you know, probably not quite my age, but they're older women, which is Kate at The Last Homely House. And then you have, who I couldn't remember and I've just remembered now, Jeanette at Cleggs Creations. So hope your day's going really, really well. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you want to see the next video I put up and you don't know when it's going to be, because with my brain, I don't even know when it's going to be, tap the notifications. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. I've decided to take something apart that I did a long time ago and turn it into something else. I've loved it for many years, and now its use-by date is out. And because of this stain, I can't get out. So what am I going to do with it? So basically you can see I've been taking off the bias that I hand sewed on, and it was, you know, small hexies, and then on the back you can see where I did the quilting, and I still want to use it. I don't want to lose it. So I thought, I could turn it into a project bag, because I have made a lot of project bags lately with a lot of different fabric. Okay, so I've finished the pouch. It's a bit wonky, but hey, it was something that could have been scrapped, and I decided not to scrap it. So I've press-studded it. It's not amazing. It's just, you know, a normal little pouch that I bias bound around, and there's the pocket inside, and I'll probably end up using it for little bits and pieces. Let's see what I use this shower organiser that has suction cups on it for. Okay, so I've taken the suction caps off the back, and I've looked for the flattest side of the shower organiser, and I've used some double-sided tape and put it on, and now I'm going to show you where I place it. Okay, so here I have placed it under my sewing machine table at the side. This was my Nana's sewing machine table when I was a child, and I received it, and yes, I have another sewing machine there. And I also have scissors hanging there, which is very handy too. So I've placed this under my sewing machine table, and this is what I'm putting into it. Because I don't use this foot pedal all the time, because I have a go button on my machine, but occasionally I do like to use it. So I thought this would be a great place to put it, and that shower caddy just worked out perfectly for it, and I'm not kicking it around on the floor. Another idea for my sewing room. Hope it works for you. Magnetic knife strips aren't just for knives. You can put them in a convenient place where you can find your scissors. Pretty handy when you need to grab them for cutting on a cutting table, or just doing any kinds of crafts or sewing. Why am I showing you this plastic drawer? Well, it's actually for fridges. It's called a large fridge drawer, and it's available in Kmart Australia for $12. I've been looking for a way to make some of my craft supplies more visual, and one of my problems was my fat quarters that I used to hide in drawers that I never ever saw again and forgot what I had. So I thought I need to make things more visual so that I could use them up. because as I'm getting older, not only do I do a lot of crafts, I also have crafts disease, which means I can't remember an effing thing. So I found that if things are visual, I can find them more easily and hopefully use them so that my daughters don't end up with them when I go over to the other side of crafting. Well, I hope they do crafting up there, because if they don't, I'll be very bored when I get there. So let's see what I've done with these plastic drawers, these large shelf drawers for a fridge. I looked them up online to see the measurements, and I found that they are perfect for my fat quarters. So I went out and I bought a few of them, and I have put my fat quarters and my pieces of material that I like to see and use in them. So hopefully now these will not be left to my girls. They will get used for lots of different things. And that's my first storage idea. Hope you follow along, because I'll have more for you, because I love organising and I love seeing what I have when I organise. Okay, here's another tip. Do you have hair straighteners that you don't use very often, or you just want to find another purpose for them rather than throwing them into e-waste? So I've had these small hair straighteners for quite a while. I bought them from Avon years ago, but I don't need to straighten my hair. In fact, it's hard to straighten my hair. I found that they were great for ironing ribbons or small trims that needed to be straightened because they'd been rolled up or placed somewhere where they were a bit crinkled. And regardless of the size, you can also use them for straightening small pieces of material, or even ironing slightly larger pieces of material, because they're much easier than getting a large iron out to iron something simple. Do you use Tic Tacs or know somebody that does? And looking for a great way to keep your little novelty ribbons in? Well, once you take off the labels and everything, they're a great storage box idea for these small novelty ribbons.